Hello, my loves, you beautiful beings. Sorry, I hope I didn't yell at you. I'm so excited to be here with you today. Thank you. Welcome to my channel. This is where we open up space, we tap in, we receive the abundance, the blessings, the health, the wealth, the prosperity, the healing that we need in these moments of life. I trust that this found you for a very significant reason and that there's going to be some special gift in this little conversation of wisdom and mm, channel. I just open up the channel and let what wants to flow flow. Sometimes I come in with an intention, sometimes I don't. Right now, I'm super open. I have a couple ideas in mind, but I'm just going to let it flow. Mm. There's been some huge collective energies of initiation, transformation. We've really been up leveling as a collective. The Earth's frequency is shifting. This isn't juju, woo woo, voodoo, moo moo. It's data. When it really comes down to it, you can look it up. You can see the Earth's frequency shifting, and you can also recognize that if Earth's frequency is changing, so do all beings on Earth. We have to recalibrate all the plants, all the people, all the living, breathing animals, fish in the sea. We're all recalibrating. Imagine that being a fish in the sea down below with the mermaids or mermans, and they're all like, "Oh, why do I feel like this? What is going on? I don't know. I don't know." um, I'm trailing, but we're having fun. Welcome. Pull up a chair, grab a cozy blanket, join me in this cozy corner. Grab a tea if you feel like it, or coffee, or a hot beverage, or a cold beverage. I don't know, whatever works for you. Yeah, let's roll it. Let's okay. So yeah, there's just this beautiful energy coming through right now of inner peace. Something that I've been recognizing a lot lately is how when we are, if you're a part of this collective, if my videos appeal to you or you resonate with what I share, it's because you're doing some internal work. You are going to the deeper layers within yourself where a lot of people are scared to go within themselves. It takes a lot of courage and a lot of bravery to do the work that you're doing and to show up here in this space. So I just want to acknowledge that because so little do we acknowledge the inner work. We are in a society that is very external and surface. And so it's really easy for us to dismiss what goes on internally or dismiss the amount of work that's being done on an internal level. And so I want to take this moment to really acknowledge that and acknowledge you for doing the courageous work that you're doing because no matter what anybody else says or society, you're doing work that a huge part of the collective and a huge part percentage of humanity is scared to do, and a lot of which won't ever travel down some of the roads that you choose to go down. And I want to applaud you for that. I want to congratulate you because that is truly the production of miracles. That is truly the production of uh and I want to say co-creation of of like a beautiful life at the end of the day. And that takes a very courageous being. And so thank you for being you, thank you for showing up for you, thank you for doing the work that you're doing. It's not going unnoticed, and I hope that you can feel that on a deeper level within yourself. There is a need to acknowledge that because I feel like it's really unacknowledged, and something that's becoming more apparent in my reality is that the inner work that I'm doing is really starting to manifest itself externally. And if you've been following me for a while, this is my passion. This is my sole purpose, is to show up every day for myself. And in doing so, I relieve, I don't know why that's the word I'm using, but my gifts to the world. And my gifts are how I navigate my joy and my passion and my art of being of service, my soul's expression, which also is a lot of emotional expression. And that shows up as service to the world, is just me authentically showing up as myself. And truly that's what we're here to do. And so I'm starting to see the progression of all that internal work, all the healing and the courage. And one of the things that comes to mind while I'm speaking about this is my mom. Love you, mom. Don't take offense to this. Um, is something she would say to me, and this was before I was here. This was a while ago, but I just remember her saying to me once, like, you don't work hard enough. And it hit me on a level that it hurt. It hurt a lot because I do internal work on levels that I don't think a lot of human beings can understand. I don't know that there is, well, I know for certain because I try to share it with people, and there are very few of you out there that really understand. And if you know, you know. And I say that a lot, and it might frustrate some people, but it's true that I feel like I go to depths inside myself that, you know, very few choose to travel in this lifetime. And the work I do is very emotional, it's very psychological, it's very spiritual, and that doesn't necessarily have an external manifestation right off the hop. I'm planting seeds that are beneath the soil, growing deep, deep roots into the core of the earth, into the core of my being. And the trees that I'm growing are just showing themselves in very slight and little ways. And so it doesn't look like I'm working hard because I'm not tilling the top of the soil. I am down below growing roots. And perhaps you resonate with this on a deep level. I also need to take a very brief pause, and I don't edit my videos. So pause with me. This is your moment to go grab a tea. I have to let my dog in because he's locked outside right now. BRB. I'm coming. So sorry about that. Maybe I'll try to edit it out with my major professional tech skills that I have up in here. I'm totally kidding. I have none of those. Um, out of breath. I ran up the loft ladder. I'm in a loft. Just let me arrive back here. Sorry about that, everybody. Where was I? Mm. Yeah, and so the inner work is really truly where I believe it starts. It's where I believe it is the most necessary, because the only true life experience we're having is between this year and this year. I say this often. And that signifies to me that that is the most important world, is the inner world, because the inner world is what creates the filters that we process the external world through. Um, and the sensations and the stories we tell ourselves is an inner world narrative, and that holds so much deeper significance to me than having a career that makes me a lot of money but is declining my well-being or my health. Or there's an external ladder that we should be following in accordance, or in yeah, in accordance to how society has placed it, or the system, right? You go to school, you get a job, you get the house, you get the family, you get the blah blah blah. I have totally went against that and chosen happiness a lot of the way, and freedom, and what brings me that level of freedom. And I don't mean um chasing what feels like chasing and consuming. I don't mean chasing as a consumer. I mean moving in life with a flow like water, a flow that presents itself as guidance. If we think of ourselves flowing like a current, you can let the rock get in the way, or you can flow around it or over it. But I'm not going to let those rocks be where I stay. You know what I mean? And so those rocks might present themselves as a job that you've been working really hard at, and you've worked your way up the ladder, and you've made manager, and you have a great monthly income, and and there doesn't seem to be logically a lot wrong with it, but spiritually or emotionally, it just doesn't sit right with you anymore. The people that you work with just don't resonate with how they used to. You know what I mean? And so when when I move through life in this way, I recognize when things become out of balance and disresonant. Is that a word? But just out of resonance, and I know how to move back into resonance, right? It reminds me of one of the things I've talked about in a previous video, that was pain as our teacher. And pain is how the body communicates to us to make subtle adjustments. Whether it's, walking, if you walk funny for long periods of time, eventually there's going to be, or you limp, right? Say you stubbed your toe, and so you limp for the day. The side that, you're leaning on mostly for the day to get off the limpy foot is also going to show pain, because it's like, stop walking on me like that. And so I when I reach pain, I acknowledge and receive. And I mean pain not just physically, but emotionally. I mean pain as in, or sometimes it's just subtle discomforts where maybe you have a work routine where you work 8-hour days, 5 days a week, and you're starting to notice that that doesn't work for you anymore. And that is the body telling you, or your being, or your soul, or whatever essence it is, life itself, the universe, saying it's time for change. It's time to make more money doing less. And for some that might seem very far out, but it's not as far as you think. I used to work 14-hour days, 14 days in a row. I made a lot of money doing that, but I worked really, really, really hard to do it. and and I drove myself to burnout more times than I can count. I still do it on the occasion, learning that recalibration, listening to Pain Teacher. But one of the things, the intentions that I set after working myself to the bone, um, is that I will make more money doing less. And I kid you not, I set that intention while quitting a job. I quit a job and said, I'm going to make more doing less. That is my intention. That's what I'm going to do. And sure enough, I found a job that made me more doing a lot less. And so believe in the power of intention because it's truly the magic that we have within our hands, and we don't have to accept the reality that we've been taught. Does that make sense? So, where was I? Definitely trailing. I want to acknowledge that there is a part of us that feels like it needs to suffer to receive, that it needs to get to the point of exhaustion to be worthy of a large income. Do you know what I mean by that? Do you ever get to the end of your work week and you're just like, holy fuck, that was hell? Pardon my French. But look at all this money I made, and you feel worthy of it because you're sweating and you're crying and you're bleeding. I worked so many jobs doing hard labor, but they made me so much money. So I was like, oh, I'm a hard working, I'm deserving of all this money. Look at all the hard work I do. Whereas now, I do that hard work internally, and for a long time, it took forever. I feel like it doesn't take forever, but it felt like forever to do all that work internally and see no reward and see no fruits of my labor. And and I just never stopped believing, I guess you could say. Sometimes I questioned if I was insane, you know, crazy. We're all crazy. Some of us are just better at hiding it than others. Let's be honest. But but I stuck with it. And when you stick with it and you stay true to yourself and you just keep following your heart, even though the voices outside can get really loud sometimes, eventually you get to a point where you start to see those fruits, and you get to watch them ripen, and they start to bring forward new belief systems and new ways of perceiving and looking at the world, and recognizing, like, oh, I don't have to suffer to be worthy of abundance. I don't have to be in pain and chronically exhausted to make a lot of money. I don't have to pour literal blood, sweat, and tears into this thing to be to feel worthy, even to feel like I deserve enough. I deserve to have all my needs met. Why is it so crazy as a society to believe that you as you are is deserving? Just as you are, right here in this moment. If you're cold, be cold. You're still deserving. If you're warm, be warm. If you're overwhelmed, be overwhelmed. If you're lost, be lost. You can be lost and still be worthy of a lot of money. You can be overwhelmed, tired, sick, ill, and be worthy of love and beauty and a good life. It's not something we have to fight for, but yet we've been so conditioned that we have to fight for it. And so we fight ourselves even for it. No, 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 no. Money doesn't come that easy. No, no, no. You can't just manifest your way through life. No, no, no. You need to work harder. You don't work hard enough. You should be, all over yourself. And then you wonder why you feel the way you do internally, because we're so fucking hard on ourselves. And sometimes we have people in our lives that are even harder on us, sometimes in good ways. There is tough love out there that is absolutely needed, but there are also areas where we're just fighting for limitations. We're just fighting to play a game that wasn't designed to serve us. It wasn't designed to heal us. It wasn't designed for us to love each other and love ourselves. And that is a reality that's worth, or a fact that's that's worth pondering and recognizing, because that is what a lot of people are fighting for, is to, or fighting against, is to keep themselves in a narrative that this is how I deem myself worthy to receive abundance. And it reminds me of a story I'd love to share with you. Is my mom is a very big part of this, because I feel like we put a lot of our need for validation and worthiness in our parents, and especially our mother, because our mother is our source of survival for a very long period of time, up until, I guess we leave the house. Sometimes it's our dad, or both parents, obviously. But I think the mother, obviously, the umbilical cord, like there is some deeper layers to that, and nutrients, and I know that a lot of us don't always have that. I know some people that have lost their mother um during birth, and so obviously, like, connect to this however it resonates for you. But we have a tether. We are the only species that is fully dependent um for for on another being for our means of survival. And so this this is something that I don't feel like we outgrow naturally. I think it's something that we actually have to come to terms with at some point in our life, and go, "Oh, my mother or my father or my guardian is actually no longer my means for survival. Like, I can find, I have survival needs outside of, or I can meet those needs outside of that individual or that guardian or that human, right? Or humans, depending on your situation." And so that, I think, holds a really deep core of our foundation to survival. But once we realize that we can meet our own means of survival, or at some point in adulthood, we have to come to the conclusion that, like, oh yeah, I have to stop relying on mommy or daddy, or whoever that is to you. Um, then we kind of mature in a new way, and we don't put as much need for validation, or deem me worthy to receive. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of layers to this, so don't let it confuse you if it's not very digestible. But what we're really getting down to is that we put our worthiness, we put our validation, we put our ability to receive, whether it's wealth, health, abundance, financial, or not. Um, wealth means a lot more than financial. Wealth feels like, to me, the all encompassing of health, mind, body, soul, and also in the physical, so material and financial. And to meet that wealth internally, I think, is to really deem ourselves, and recognize. And when I say recognize, I don't just mean mentally, I mean internally. Recognize that is not met through external searching or working or forcing or prying or seeking. It's very internal, or at least it should be, and it's up to us to work towards that. One of the things that comes to mind is that I'm losing my train of thought. When I was coming out of my depression that I was in for a bit there, I call it my winter. Um, I uh, I got to a point where I was just really sick of my own shit, you could say. And so I just, instead of feeding into my pity party, I started feeding into a new thought that was just like, I believe in me, even if it's really hard. Even if it's been really hard, I believe in me. I believe that I can get out of this. I believe I can get through this. And I believe that I'll figure it out or I will find a way. And I kept saying that to myself until it became true. And until I really, really, truly believed in it. And it was as if that journey provided me the ability to, over and over, start deeming myself worthy beyond my parents' approval, beyond society's approval, beyond approval of anything outside of me. A boss, a coworker, a job, the numbers, the subscriptions, the follows, the likes, all of it. And I kept telling myself, like, I believe in you. And that's why I say it a lot on my channel. I say it a lot on my social medias and to my clients, is because I think that's really the core of it, is just to believe in you. Believe in you. Believe in you beyond anything outside of you. Believe that you are worthy just as you are. You were born worthy enough for health, wealth, and abundance. You were born worthy of millions and millions of dollars without having to suffer for it. And that doesn't mean we don't work for it and contribute to our community and to our society and to our world. It's not an egoic, I'm worthy of all, so give me money. No, it's I don't have to suffer. I don't have to fight for my life or for my survival. We don't live in a day and age where we do. We used to. We used to have to hunt for our food and fight for survival. And there is a time and a place when those particular ways of being are necessary. Yes, I'm not excluding it, but I'm bringing into our awareness the new perception that we can also rest and receive wealth. There are so many ways to make money in your sleep nowadays. And I truly feel like it has something to do with like like literally the vibration, the work, the level of internal, and when I say this, mm, I want to say this in a way that meets you with grace, that meets whoever's watching this with a a, a softness, because we weren't born to suffer our way through. We weren't born to, and when I mean suffer our way through, some of us have been dealt cards that caused a lot of suffering. And I'm not disregarding that because I am one of those individuals, but we don't have to prolong suffering. We don't have to choose suffering. We don't have to or continue to choose suffering um, in order to be worthy of the life you want to live. It doesn't have to be through a fight. Does that make sense? Is what am I saying getting across? Please let me know. Sometimes I get so wound in the depths of my mind that I confuse myself. And so sometimes it's also just a flowing channel that is just flowing and I just have to trust that it's meeting you listening to this where you need to be met. Um but I really hope this is reaching that part of you that is ready for change, is ready to create a life with ease and grace because it's very well quite possible. Did I say that right? But it takes inner work. And sometimes that inner work means going to the depth of your suffering and holding it lovingly and compassionately. And that's something I do for my clients. So if you feel like you need some extra support, whether it's me or someone else, I invite you to find that individual that can help you move that energy from within. Because at the end of the road of that journey, and don't get me wrong, the road is never ending, but I'm very, very clearly and will be more clear in the very near future, walking proof that even the hardest cards dealt, doing and following your heart's calling and just listening, really listening to those inner, very subtle sometimes, um, nudges is what will lead you. And I know it takes courage, I know it takes bravery, but it is what will lead you to an external manifested world of beauty because it's truly true, truly true that life is just our mirror. And when we change the reflection internally, the reflection externally changes. What's that saying? Be the change you wish to see in the world. Well, guess what? By you doing the change internally, your external world will change. And I don't know how much clearer that needs to be. And sometimes it takes a while to start to see the fruits. And once you see the fruits, you're like, oh my God, I gotta wait for them to ripen now? What? Oh shoot, I'm gonna spill my tea. But it's so worth it. And I believe in you and I believed in me and my fruits are ripening and walking proof. Walking proof. I've been to the depths of some hells, honestly. And if you watch more of my videos, you learn about some of those depths. Um, but I'm starting to see myself on the other side and watching my gifts and my inner peace manifest externally. And I'm undisturbed by a lot of life now, whereas before I used to be disturbed by everything. And I hated everyone and I hated the world. And now I live in a place where I love my life. I can honestly say I love my life today. And it's taken me a long time to get here, and it's really actually fun to realize it in this moment. I love my life. Wow. Oh, good job. We did it. I just have to acknowledge that because I haven't actually acknowledged it till this moment. Mm. And it starts with you, and it's as subtle as following those rhythms. Do what you know is right for you. If that means leaving where you are for something better, or maybe you don't know if something better is out there, but you have a nudge. Even if you're going to make less, or you have to go through the period of transformation and change, and there's some discomfort along with that, just, follow the beat of your drum, because it will never steer you wrong, even if the outside world is against it. I believe in you. I hope this video was able to help you in some way, shape, or form. I love you all so, so, so much. And until next time, have a blessed rest of your day. Bye.